It starts with something so small, most seniors brush it off without a second thought. You reach for a grocery bag and suddenly, your arms feel weaker than they used to. You find yourself using the railing to climb just one flight of stairs, or maybe your balance is a little off, but hey, it's probably just age, right? What if I told you those tiny changes, those shrug-it-off moments, are actually early red flags of a condition that can shrink your muscles, steal your strength, and double your fall risk in less than a year? For decades, I've seen this same mistake repeat over and over. Seniors assume that feeling weaker is just getting older. But muscle loss past a certain point isn't natural aging. It's a condition called sarcopenia. And the most dangerous part? It doesn't scream for attention. It whispers, gently, quietly, until one day you struggle to get out of a chair or you fall in the kitchen and can't get up. Let me tell you about one of my patients, Frank. He was 72, proud of his independence, and still drove himself everywhere. His first visit was just a check-in. He mentioned a little arm weakness and occasional fatigue when walking up the stairs. Nothing serious, or so he thought. But when I asked him to rise from the exam table without using his hands, he hesitated. That single movement told me what labs couldn't. Frank had lost over 10% of his muscle mass in just 2 years, and he had no idea. No pain, no injuries. Just a slow, quiet fade. Sarcopenia doesn't start with walkers and wheelchairs. It starts with skipping the morning walk, with relying on your arms to push off the couch, with no longer feeling as strong in your core when you carry groceries or lift grandkids. These are the early signs, and they're often mistaken as harmless. The truth is, sarcopenia begins around age 50. But for many, it accelerates sharply after 60, especially if you're not actively rebuilding strength. And here's the problem. If you lose strength faster than you build it, you start to lose balance, independence, and even bone density. That's when a small stumble turns into a fractured hip. That's when a 2-step decline becomes a full-blown emergency. And yet, it's preventable. Most seniors don't realize their muscles are talking to them long before a fall happens. They talk through fatigue, through stiffness, through shrinking appetite and unexpected weight loss. Not just fat, but lean tissue. If your pants feel looser but your energy hasn't improved, that's not always a win. It could be muscle melting away. And here's something most doctors won't say out loud. Many blood tests don't pick up early sarcopenia. The real clues come from your daily life. Do you walk slower than you used to? Has your grip weakened? Do you find yourself sitting more often or needing help rising from low chairs? These aren't just quirks of aging. They are signals your body is sending, and you cannot afford to ignore them. You don't need to join a gym or lift heavy weights to reverse sarcopenia. You just need to activate your muscles intentionally, starting with the legs, because your legs are your lifeline. Once your leg strength goes, your risk of falls and hospitalizations skyrockets. And it's not just about movement. Protein matters. Vitamin D matters. Hydration, sleep, circulation. Your muscles need all of it to repair and grow. Think of your muscles as an organ, just like your heart. Would you ignore chest pain? Then why ignore weakness, when weakness could be warning you of a silent storm brewing beneath the surface? We've normalized frailty in old age. But I'm here to tell you it's not inevitable. It's reversible. And recognizing the early signs is your first step. So what can you do today to protect your strength and stay independent well into your 70s, 80s, even 90s? That's what we're diving into next. When Frank came back for his second visit, he wasn't just a patient. He was a man on a mission to rebuild what he thought was lost forever, his strength, his balance, his confidence. And the first thing I told him might surprise you. You don't need to lift weights, I said. You just need to stand up, on purpose. What does that mean? It means re-engaging the largest muscles in your body with intention. The thighs, the glutes, the calves. These aren't just movement muscles, they're metabolic powerhouses. Every time you sit down and stand up without using your hands, you send a message to your body. I still need this muscle. Keep it strong. You see, seniors don't lose muscle because they're old. They lose it because they stop using it. And when you stop using it, your body reallocates resources elsewhere. It assumes you don't need strength anymore, and strength, like memory, is a use it or lose it system. But the great news? It doesn't take a gym or a personal trainer. It just takes waking up your body's natural movement patterns. One of my favorite simple routines is the hallway march. Frank did it every morning while the coffee brewed. He marched in place down his hallway, lifting his knees a little higher than usual. That small motion did two things. It fired up his core, and it improved his balance by reconnecting his brain to his legs. And then there's the power of pushing, not pushing weights, but pushing against resistance. Frank used his kitchen counter to do standing push-ups. At first, he managed 5. He looked at me and said, "Doc, I haven't done push-ups since the Navy." But 2 weeks later, he was doing 12 without breaking a sweat. Here's what happened inside his body. Dormant muscle fibers began waking up. Blood flow improved. His insulin sensitivity increased. And most importantly, his body remembered how to move with control. That's the magic of early muscle revival. It's not about building bulk. It's about regaining control, confidence, coordination. These are the things that prevent falls, delay assisted living, and keep seniors doing what they love. Now, movement alone won't work miracles if your body isn't getting the raw materials it needs to build. That's why I told Frank to add one small habit that changed everything: protein first. Before his morning walk, he'd have a small cup of Greek yogurt or a boiled egg. Nothing fancy, but that little dose of protein sent a signal to his body: rebuild, protect, grow. It's like adding bricks to a foundation that was slowly wearing thin. And here's the piece most seniors never hear. Protein needs actually increase as you age, not decrease. Your body becomes less efficient at using it, which means you need more to trigger the same repair process. That's why older adults who eat light or skip meals often see their strength fade faster. Frank didn't go on a diet. He went on a mission to protect the most precious thing he had left, his independence. And with just a few changes, he felt the difference. He wasn't tired halfway through the day. He didn't need help getting up from his recliner. He even danced with his granddaughter at her wedding without holding on to a chair. That's the power of early action. It doesn't just prevent decline, it reverses it. So if your body has been sending you quiet warnings, wobbly steps, weak grip, struggling with stairs, listen, it's not too late. Start with what you already have: a chair, a hallway, your breath, your will. Because the human body, especially the aging body, has one incredible superpower: the ability to rebuild when you give it the right message and the right fuel. Now you might be wondering, what should you actually eat each day to protect your muscles and stop sarcopenia from taking over? Well, you're about to find out, because the next thing we're diving into is food, not supplements, not powders, real food. And one of the best muscle-building foods for seniors is probably already in your fridge. Frank's transformation didn't come from a supplement bottle or a fancy protein shake. It came from food, real, everyday food that you can find at any grocery store. And what shocked him most? These weren't exotic superfoods or expensive powders. They were things he'd walked past for years. But the difference wasn't just what he ate. It was when and how consistently he ate them. Let's start with a food most seniors already enjoy, but rarely use for muscle: eggs. I've said it in clinic rooms more times than I can count. 1 egg a day can change the trajectory of your health. And I mean it. Eggs aren't just breakfast. They're pure, bioavailable protein wrapped in a powerhouse of nutrients. Inside that shell is leucine, a key amino acid your body needs to trigger muscle growth. And unlike protein powders, eggs come with vitamin D, choline, and healthy fats that support brain function too. Frank started eating 2 boiled eggs mid-morning instead of skipping breakfast. Within weeks, his energy stabilized. He wasn't crashing at 3 p.m. anymore. And more importantly, his strength tests in my office improved. The change was that fast. Why? Because seniors absorb and use the protein from eggs more efficiently than from most other sources. It's muscle fuel in its simplest, most absorbable form. Next up, something even more surprising: cottage cheese. Yes, the same creamy bowl many grew up with in the 60s and 70s is one of the most underrated muscle-saving foods in senior nutrition. Cottage cheese isn't just a snack. It's loaded with casein protein, which breaks down slowly and feeds your muscles over several hours. That's critical, especially at night when your body is doing its deepest repair work. Frank swapped his evening bowl of cereal for cottage cheese with cinnamon and berries. No crash, no late-night sugar spike. Just steady amino acids helping his muscles rebuild while he slept. And the calcium? That's an extra bonus for bone strength, a key player in fall prevention and mobility. But if there's one food I recommend to every senior who's serious about reversing muscle loss, it's this one: salmon. Wild-caught salmon is nature's perfect anti-sarcopenia meal. It delivers high-quality protein and omega-3 fatty acids in one delicious bite. And omega-3s don't just fight inflammation. They directly increase muscle protein synthesis, which is your body's ability to build new muscle cells. Frank grilled salmon every Sunday and used the leftovers in salads and sandwiches during the week. He didn't just notice better energy. He noticed fewer joint aches, better balance, and even improvements in memory. That's because what's good for muscle is also good for the brain. And when you combine anti-inflammatory fats with high-quality protein, you're not just eating to survive, you're eating to thrive. And before you ask, no, you don't need to eat salmon daily. Once or twice a week is enough to make a real difference. Add some lemon juice, olive oil, and herbs, and you've got a muscle-rebuilding meal that tastes amazing and works overtime to protect your body. Frank's plate changed, and so did his life. From wobbly steps to steady ones, from naps on the couch to walks around the block. And it all started with 3 humble foods: eggs, cottage cheese, and salmon. These aren't trendy, they're timeless. And they're sitting in your local grocery store right now waiting to help you rebuild what time tried to take. Now that you know what to eat, the next step is knowing what to avoid. Because certain foods, ones you may consider healthy, can quietly block muscle growth and accelerate the very decline you're trying to prevent. And one of the worst offenders is something many seniors drink every single day. Let's talk about that next. Frank was making progress. His legs were stronger, his steps more confident, his pantry full of muscle-rebuilding foods. But then came the slump. One week he told me he felt drained by noon. His strength plateaued. He hadn't changed his meals. His walks were the same. So I asked one question. "What are you drinking?" He blinked. "Same as always, Doc. Coffee in the morning, a little soda at lunch, maybe a glass of iced tea in the afternoon." And there it was. Frank's little soda at lunch sounded innocent. But here's the truth. Just 1 can of soda floods the bloodstream with nearly 40 grams of sugar. That's over 9 teaspoons. When that sugar rushes in, your body scrambles to pump out insulin. And insulin's job isn't just to lower blood sugar. It shifts your body into fat storage mode and puts muscle repair on pause. That means all the protein you're eating, all the exercise you're doing, it's being overridden by a single glass of liquid sugar. It doesn't just block muscle growth. It fuels inflammation, weakens blood vessels, and silently raises your risk of metabolic diseases like diabetes, which accelerates sarcopenia even faster. Frank's labs confirmed it. His fasting insulin had crept up, his blood sugar was on the rise, and his inflammatory markers were climbing, all from a drink he thought was harmless. Then we turned to the afternoon iced tea. And no, I don't mean unsweetened herbal tea. I'm talking about bottled sweet tea, the kind you grab from the fridge thinking it's better than soda. It's not. Most bottled teas are loaded with just as much sugar as soda, sometimes more, and even diet versions come with artificial sweeteners that disrupt gut bacteria, confuse insulin pathways, and increase cravings for carbs. That roller coaster doesn't just impact your waistline, it impacts your strength. It keeps your body in a state of inflammation that blocks the muscle-repairing effects of protein and exercise. Now let's talk about the real elephant in the room: caffeine. Caffeine itself isn't evil. In fact, in small amounts, especially with food, it can improve focus and even enhance workouts. But for seniors, especially those over 65, too much caffeine is a hidden saboteur of muscle health. Frank was drinking 2 large mugs of coffee by 9 a.m. He thought it helped him get going. But what it was really doing was overstimulating his nervous system, increasing cortisol, the stress hormone, and disrupting his sleep at night. And here's the kicker. Muscle repair doesn't happen during the day. It happens during deep sleep. If your sleep is shallow, fragmented, or shortened by late-day caffeine, your body never enters the stage where it releases human growth hormone, your natural muscle rebuilder. That means your muscle doesn't grow. It breaks down. Frank didn't believe it at first. He wasn't staying up all night. But we ran a sleep study and the results were clear. He was tossing and turning more than he realized, never hitting those deep restorative cycles. His body was running on adrenaline, and his muscles were stuck in neutral. So we made a few swaps. Out went the soda. In came sparkling water with a slice of lime. Out went the sweet tea. In came cold herbal infusions. Frank even started sipping warm ginger water in the evenings to wind down. His caffeine? Cut to 1 cup, early, with breakfast, and never past 10 a.m. Within 2 weeks, the fog lifted. His afternoon energy returned. His sleep deepened. And most importantly, his strength gains resumed. That's the power of what you drink. It can either rebuild you or quietly break you down. And the older you get, the more sensitive your body becomes to these liquid triggers. So if you've been doing all the right things, exercising, eating better, but not seeing results, take a hard look at your cup. Because the real problem may not be on your plate. It might be in your glass. Now, if drinks can quietly steal your muscle strength, wait until you hear about the one daily habit that almost every senior does. Without realizing it's signaling the body to lose muscle faster. It's not food. It's not lack of exercise. It's even sneakier. And it all happens the moment you sit down. Frank was shocked when I told him that one of the most dangerous things he was doing each day wasn't eating sugar, or skipping his walk, or even having a soda. It was sitting. Just sitting. And here's the part that caught him off guard. It wasn't how much he was sitting. It was how long he was sitting without interruption. You see, the human body, especially after age 60, isn't built for long stretches of stillness. And while rest is necessary, the kind of sitting most seniors do is different. It's passive, prolonged, unbroken, hours in a recliner, an entire afternoon at the table, even evenings parked in front of the TV, and every one of those hours is telling your muscles you're not needed. The longer you sit, the faster your body begins down-regulating muscle activity. And I don't just mean your legs. I'm talking about your metabolism, your circulation. Even your brain's connection to your body starts to dim. Here's what the research shows. After just 60 minutes of sitting still, key enzymes that support fat metabolism drop by as much as 90%. Blood flow slows, muscle activity in your glutes and thighs drops to near zero, and your body begins releasing signals that actually increase muscle breakdown. That's right. Sitting too long without moving tells your body to start breaking down muscle for fuel, even if you've eaten well that day. Frank didn't believe it at first. "But Doc, I go for a walk every morning," he said. And he did. But the walk wasn't the problem. It was the 4 hours of stillness that followed. And that's when I showed him a trick that changed everything, something I now call the 60-second reset. Every hour, on the hour, Frank stands up. Just for 60 seconds. He marches in place, or he stretches tall, or he leans against the kitchen counter and does slow, gentle calf raises. Nothing extreme, nothing painful, just movement. What that 60 seconds does is remarkable. It wakes up your muscles, reactivates your circulation, sends oxygen rushing back to your legs and brain. And, this is key, it turns off the signal that says, break muscle down. 1 minute. That's all it takes. The best part? You don't need fancy equipment, no yoga mat, no gym membership. Frank sets a timer on his phone. Some of my patients use commercials during TV shows. Others keep a water bottle across the room to force themselves to stand and refill it. It doesn't matter how you trigger the habit. What matters is that you move. Now you might be thinking, is 1 minute really enough? Yes, especially for seniors, because the goal isn't to work out. It's to interrupt the muscle wasting signal. Every time you stand, stretch, or move your legs, you fire off what's called mechanical loading. That's the cue your body needs to maintain and even build muscle over time. And the effect isn't just physical. Seniors who do hourly movement breaks show sharper thinking, improved mood, and better sleep. Why? Because light movement improves circulation to the brain, stabilizes blood sugar, and keeps stress hormones like cortisol in check. Frank's results were almost immediate. Within a week of doing his 60-second resets, he had less stiffness in the morning. Within a month, he said he no longer felt foggy after lunch. And by his next visit, he told me something that made me smile. "Doc, I don't need my afternoon nap anymore." Not because he was pushing himself harder, but because he was finally working with his body, not against it. Here's what I want you to take from this. Sitting isn't evil, but unbroken stillness is a silent enemy of senior strength. It weakens your muscles without warning, it drains your energy without symptoms, and it speeds up a decline you might not even notice, until one day you fall and don't know why. But it doesn't have to be that way. Your body isn't asking for marathons, it's asking for momentum. Just enough to remind it that you're still here, still active, still building, not breaking. So wherever you are right now, if you're sitting, stand up. Stretch your arms to the sky. March in place. Wiggle your toes. Feel your body wake up. That's not a workout, that's a lifeline. If you've noticed the stairs getting harder, your grip a little weaker, or your energy not bouncing back the way it used to, don't ignore it. That's your body whispering before it starts shouting. Sarcopenia doesn't knock on the door. It walks in quietly, day by day, meal by meal, moment by moment, until one day you can't stand up as easily as you used to. But here's the truth. Muscle loss isn't a guarantee of aging. It's a warning, and you can answer it. Because once you see the signs, you can stop them. Once you feed your body right, it rebuilds. And once you move with purpose, even for 60 seconds at a time, everything begins to change. But here's the twist no one tells you. Reversing sarcopenia isn't just about muscles. It's about protecting your brain, your bones, your balance, your entire future. So if your body has been trying to tell you something, The real question is, are you ready to listen? Because in the next video, we're uncovering the 7 foods silently destroying your bones and how fixing them could save your mobility for the next decade. You're not too old, and it's not too late. Everything can change, starting today.